Hello everybody, a very warm welcome back to the MEC-TEC garage. Now, Lotus progress continues, well, sort of. I haven't done much more since the end of the last video, but obviously we're going to crack on in this video and get some stuff done. One thing I have done off camera very quickly is that exhaust manifold. As you can see, it's hanging up there drying at the moment. Now, I wanted to get that Cerakoted, but it was about 250 quid to do that, and then because I've had to buy starter motors and this, that and the other, I didn't really have it in the budget. So I've blasted it quickly in the cabinet outside to save the garage getting covered in sand, and very, very quickly hung it up and give it a couple of coats of high temperature grey paint, this stuff. E-TEC extreme high temperature paint up to 650 degrees. So hopefully, I mean, it ain't going to last, I know it's not, it's going to burn off eventually, but at least it's got something on it to start with to hopefully give it a little bit of protection, and it may bake some of the paint into the metal and I don't know. Anyway, so that's drying at the moment. I've done it off camera. I had to do it fast because I didn't want it to flash rust, hence blasting it and painting it in quick succession. So next job now is going to be to get the actual car in the garage in this space. I've had to have a bit of a clear up. I've had problems with the cab over the last week or so, so I've been rushing around like a mad thing, sorting that out, which means I haven't had a lot of time to do much Lotus work, which means I'm running out of time now. So without further ado, let's get out on the drive. I've got to move the cab, get the Lotus in here, and then we can start sorting out bits in the engine bay and the fuel tank. Let's crack on and get this ready for the show. Okay, with the car up in the air, at the front at least, you can see obviously the engine bay now is all pretty clean, now it's all dried off. But we've got to sort out the mount for the oil cooler. You can see that bar there, it's all bent. So we need to obviously sort that out so we can fit the new oil cooler. And also I've got to drill out the mounts because the bolts snapped in the mounts when we took it off. So I think what I'm going to try and do is straighten it a bit on the car so I know the lines still line up with the chassis, because obviously it bolts through the chassis on both sides, and then once it's sort of pretty much back to where it should be again as such, then we can take it off, straighten it the final bit, and then drill those bolts out so we can fit new ones to get the new oil cooler on when we fit it back in. Once we've done that, then you can see all that rust over there. Let me zoom in. That's coming out the rad. So we need to get the rad out and have a look at that and see what's going on with that, and see if we can find a new one or match it up or do something with it, because as I say, at the moment I've looked at all the Lotus suppliers and none of them have got Lotus XL rads in stock, which is a bit of a pain. So right, let's sort this cross beam out first, then we'll go from there. Okay, from underneath the car you can see what we're working with a bit better. It looks a bit crusty under here. A lot of this is obviously all this is galvanised, so it's not actually rusty, it's just all the oil and mank that has obviously come from the engine. We've cleaned the inside of the engine bay with the oven cleaner. The underside obviously needs doing as well, but we can do that once the engine's back in the car, so I'm not too worried about that at the moment. This is the beam obviously that we saw from the top. You can see it's bent quite badly this side. These are nuts and bolts that hold this on, so I've not got very high hopes that they're going to actually come undone. But as I say, I want to get it straightened first. Move that jack out of the way, or at least semi-straightened first, so that we can obviously know that it will still fit on the chassis. So yeah, that's pretty soft. God, rust coming off of it. Tell this bit of it wasn't galvanised. I'm just using a bolster and a club hammer to try and knock this back into some sort of shape. without obviously damaging anything as well. Get something to twist it with, it needs twisting. I'll get the smallest pair of grips I've got and hopefully this should do the trick. Get around the whole thing and twist it back like that. That's a lot better. As I say, doing it on the car like this, at least you know then, in theory, there's no guarantee obviously, but in theory the bolt holes will still line up once you put it back on again, once you've got it into sort of the right, roughly the right position. That's not looking too bad actually. It's got a bit of a kink in the lip of it here, which we can sort out when we get it off in the vise. But the actual, it's running pretty parallel with that anti-roll bar now. Anti-roll bar bushes are knackered, as we would expect from sitting as long as it has. So they're probably going to get poly-bushed, I would have thought. I dare say a lot of the bushes on this suspension are going to need replacing or sorting out. That is for another day though. We're not doing anything on suspension at the moment. We're purely doing engine work to get it running, because that is the biggest thing. Right, I think the stage that's at now is good enough to be able to try and unbolt. So I'm going to attempt to unbolt those bolts. I mean, looking at them, they're going to be mullered, and if they're just nuts and bolts, then it might just be worth cutting them off and just for speed. Having said that, this side is actually covered in oil, so it may come off. We don't know. We're going to get a spanner on those. I think they're a 10mm by the looks of it, and see if they come out off. Well, can't believe that. All four of them come undone. And there's our brace. 2 bolts on this end snapped, 2 bolts on this end have come undone. I actually thought these brackets were bent, but they're not. They're actually angled like that. Hopefully you can see that. It's got an angle on them to angle the oil cooler to the grill, I'm assuming. Right, I'm going to get this in the vise, get the last little bit of it straightened out because it's still got a bit of a wobble in it. We need to try and get these 2 bolts out. Now, before I start drilling them, I'm going to try getting some grips on the back, heating up the nut mega hot and seeing if they'll unwind. Because if they will, it'll be a lot easier than trying to drill them out, and then all we've got to do then is obviously re-tap the threads and so they're clean, and put the new nuts and bolts in ready to go. So that is really rather good. Right, let's get this in the vise and get it straightened out the last little bit. Right, I've just given this a quick blast over in the old sandblaster. Now I've straightened it out. It's not absolutely perfect as far as being straight. It's a bit wonky, but it is good enough for an oil cooler to be mounted on. So I'm going to get this hung up on my makeshift washing line that I've put back up again now. Give it a couple of coats of Hammerite, and that can be laying in here dry or hanging in here drying while I'm working on other things on the car. So that is that bit sorted out. I'm glad those studs that were left of them came out very easily with a little bit of heat, so that's absolutely superb. I thought I was going to have to drill those out, but as it is, I've still got the original mounting points, original nuts on the back, and it's all absolutely marvellous. So let's get this hung up, get some paint on it. I won't bother filming that. You've seen me do that already in the last video with the other bits, and then we can crack on with looking at the radiator. Right, with the bracket now drying in the workshop over the other side, or first cut of paint drying I should say at least, I've got to work out how this rad comes out. Now there's a plate here, I don't know if you can see on camera. Can you see that where I'm pointing to? Let me tilt you up a little bit so you can see. There's a big bolt here and another big bolt here, but that's like an under panel under this panel. This panel looks like it's held on with what's left of that bolt there, which doesn't look very good. So I don't know whether I'm going to be able to get this off or not, because that is very rotten. To the point where I don't even know what size it is. These ones are 13mm. So as I say, that's a panel underneath this panel, and I don't know whether that comes off with it or whether that's separate or what. Having not had one of these apart before, I've got absolutely no idea. It looks like it should be separate, but I don't know. Let's see if it even tries to attempt to undo, and then we'll know what we're working with then. Oh, it's going. Famous last words. Let's go back the other way again just to work it in and out a little bit. I don't know where the back of this bolt is, so I can't even get to the back and put any WD-40 on it. Well, as they say, you're one snapped bolt away from a 5-minute job turning into a several-day-old deal. Oh, it's coming. I'm quite surprised about this. It's either coming out or it's just turning. No, it's just turning. So that is obviously a nut and bolt, which is ridiculous, because where do you get to the back of it? Okay, that's curveball number one. I have absolutely no idea. I mean, I can say that about most things, but in particular this. I might have to have a look at the manual and see how that comes off, because this is all part of the actual main tub. So that obviously can't go anywhere because that's part of the body. I think it's that one. I know I can't get onto that without grinding it off. I'll just show you what I mean. Look at the state of that head on that bolt. There's nothing left of it. The one on to your right, this was the one I was just trying to undo, which was just turning, so I'm guessing there's a nut on the back of that. This one, well, I'll have a look at the other side and see whether that's got a head on the other side of it, and if it has, then I'll undo it and see what it actually undoes, and I'll come back to you and let you know. Right, I didn't get this on camera, it coming down, but the under tray is off. It was two 10mm, that one that I showed you with no head left on it, which I had to ground the end off of up there. And the other side came undone, no problem at all. Look at the mountain of rust in this tray. It's unbelievable. Pick the camera up, I'll show you. Look at all that lot. That was all in that under tray, and that's obviously what's hanging down from the bottom of the rad. Now, at the moment, I'm not sure actually what this is. It's a lump of foam, which I can tell you. Because at the moment, as weird as it, as weird as it sounds, the bottom of the rad looks intact. Whatever this is underneath it, whether it was a bracket or what, has been holding the water and it's just rotted it out completely at the bottom. I'm trying to catch it all in this under tray, so I haven't got to clear up the garage too much. Let me put it down a second. What on earth? Absolutely caked. But, as I say, that I'm going to have to look into this a bit more, but that looks like it's not the rad. It looks like, I don't know, well, it looks like it was joined at either end, like a metal brace going from end to end. The rad itself looks like it's intact, which is astonishing. I need to maybe have a look at a diagram of this to see how this is supposed to look in real life, but, or sorry, not in real life, how it's supposed to look when it's not absolutely mullered. The air comrade has seen better days, but we won't worry about that one for a minute. We're more worried about the water rad at the moment. I think I need to get the water rad out and put some water in it and see if it leaks. I mean, it looks like it should leak, the way that it looks, but also the other thing I want to do is get the rad out, and I want to speak to my mate Aaron at DeLorean Go and see whether the DeLorean rad's the same, because obviously the DeLorean and the Lotus are incredibly similar in their makeup of what they used on each of them, to the point where these fans on this are almost identical to DeLorean ones. And so I want to see whether the 3-core alley rad that he does for the DeLorean will fit this, because if it will, then that may be an option. Doesn't appear to be a lot holding this in. I don't know what's holding it in. I think I need to have a clear up. I'll get this under tray out and clear all the gunk off of it, and have a sweep up and then go again, because at the moment I'm covered in rubbish. I've got a drip coming from somewhere. I don't know where it's coming from. Yeah, this red doesn't look very well. I mean, this could, no, it's got all the fins missing out the end of it there. This could have been the whole reason why it was overheating in the first place, if the rad was absolutely knackered. I know one of the cooling fans doesn't turn, or if it does, it's very, it's this one, this side, you can't see it's off camera, but it does turn if you really force it, but the other one's lovely and free over here, spin it easy, and that one, this side, is absolutely jam solid, so that's not going to be helping things either. Right, I'm going to have a clear up, and I'll come back to you in a second. Right, apologies for the lack of microphone. I'm inside the engine bay, as you can see, and this rad is held on in the top with 2 studs that stick upwards through the fiberglass. 2 10mm, they're both snapped because obviously they're totally rotten. The aircon rad is actually undone, believe it or not. I thought I had to take the whole fiberglass pod out with them, but it looks like you can actually get them out on their own. So these are free now, to a point. So I'm going to wrestle these out the bottom, hopefully. I may have to take this hose off, or just bend it about. Yeah, I'm going to have to take that hose off because it's connected to all this. So I'll buzz that clip off at the bottom of that hose down there. It's just a hose clamp, probably rotten as well. And well, it may be, actually looking at it, it may be easy to take this one off of here for now, just so I can get the rad out. And then we can have a look and see what sort of condition it's in, if it holds any water, just for now at least, so I can use it as a test rad. The only downside now is obviously I can't bolt it back in because the studs are snapped on the top of it. So sorry about that light underneath the car. I'm everywhere at the moment because I'm panicking now that I'm not going to get this done. So I'm going to wrestle these out. As you can see, you might be able to see if I get a torch. Where's the stud? On the end there, you can see what's left of it. Right where my torch is. Same that end. What's left of it. It's just completely sheared off. So yeah, I've undone these connections. Got an earth and a plug on both fans, one each, and the electrical connectors for the autostat. Or yeah, I think that's the autostat to open to let the water flow. I think that's what it is. It looks very similar to the DeLorean one. So that's all free. The only thing I haven't done, which they said you should really undo, is the pipes off of it. So we'll see if we can wrestle it out with those on. If not, then we'll obviously have to take those off. I'll come back to you with an update in a minute. Right, there we go. Both rads are now out. Now I had to get the angle grinder out for the aircon condenser, which is laying down there on the floor, because the 2 pipes that attached to it were absolutely seized solid. There they are there. As you can see, I had to cut the ends off. So I'm hoping I might possibly still be able to save the pipes, because this is the rad I actually cut, because the rad's knackered anyway. It may be that I can drill those out and get the remaining bit of that alley out the middle of them, get them moving on the pipe again, and then we can save them. If not, we'll have to get new ones. Chances are that's probably what's going to happen, but still. So that's out. I'm just going to, where am I going? I'm going over here. Sorry, I'm going the wrong direction. Rad fans are over here. This one, as I say, is completely solid. If you really force it, you can hear that. It don't want to turn, but it will turn. This one is as free as anything. So I may look into a different solution for fans again, because on the DeLorean I put Spall Racing fans on and they're so much quieter, move so much more air and draw so much less current. These are identical to the ones that were on the DeLorean before, I think, pretty much. And they draw a lot of power and don't move all that, well, they do move a fair bit of air, to be fair, but they draw a lot of power. So I'd rather have maybe a more modern Spall Racing sort of flat fan than those. So we may have to look into modifying those. So let's go outside. I'll just show you quickly outside. Sorry, the garage is stuff everywhere because I'm in a mad panic. And I'm stepping over things again, like my old ways. I need to have a bit of a clear up. Right, here's the rad. What's left of it. And you can see, if I turn it over, there should be I'll show you the top. That's where the two mounting bolts snapped. And there should be one of these C channels at the bottom as well, which is what had rotted out. As you can see, it's rotted up to here. This should be attached to another C channel, which should be along the bottom of the rad, but it's gone completely. If I turn the rad over, it did hold water. I tipped a load of brown sludge out of it. It didn't look very healthy. As you can see, the fins are completely gone in that side, going all the way up. They're going in the middle there as well. So it's not long for this weld, this rad, I don't think. So I don't think I'm going to waste any time trying to clean it out. There's no point. For the NEC show, at least, we can run it without water. At least briefly. We're only going to be allowed to run it briefly anyway, because of obviously being inside in a massive hall in a show with full of people and fumes everywhere. So we're not going to be able to run it that long anyway. So if we don't connect the water pump up, it won't damage the seal in the water pump, and we can just run it very briefly to see if it runs. I mean, this is still pie in the sky. I'm so hoping. I'm so hoping we can get this running at the show. I've spent so much time and effort and money as well. And my dad's lent me some money for this as well, so thanks, Dad, to get all these bits, because it ain't cheap. Lotuses are not cheap, because they're so specialist. And apparently they use wood in their construction on a Lotus. I found inside here, up there, and up here, there's a piece of wood going to the front fascia, underneath there to strengthen it. Bit of plywood, both sides. So there you go. Lotus apparently used plywood in their construction of a car, which is one step below what a DeLorean did, because I never found any wood in a DeLorean, so that's quite good. Right, so big gaping hole there now, I suppose. Doesn't really matter, as I say, for the show. It was just something I wanted to try and get running, and obviously get coolant and everything, but I don't think it's going to happen, and I'm going to need to modify it to make it all work. And I've also got to find a rad as well. So I think I'm going to change tack now. I'm going to have a massive clear up, and I'm going to work on getting the fuel tank sorted out, because that is a must. We need that sorted out for the show. If we sort that out, then I've got these carburetors to go through, and then we might be somewhere near prepared. We're not really prepared at all. Who am I kidding? I'm trying to convince myself I'm prepared. I ain't prepared at all, but I've done my absolute best. I'm still obviously working every day as well, taking the kids to school every day, and blah blah blah. Life goes on, as they say. So yeah, I'm trying to stay positive, but I'm not going to lie, I'm probably covered in dirt. I'm finding it quite difficult at the moment, so bear with. I'm going to have a massive tidy up, I think, because otherwise I'm just going to start tripping over stuff everywhere, and it's not going to be ideal. And obviously, you know, then it is detrimental to the amount of stuff you get done, because then you're trying to clamber over stuff and it's just a big mess. So let's have a tidy up, and I'll come back to you in a minute. Right, I've had a big old clear up and moved the car forward. So we're now at the opposite end of the car, as you can see in the boot, and that is where the fuel tank is housed. Now we're going to have to take some, I've got to walk in front of the camera, I'm going to have to take a few things out of here to obviously get to it. I've got the original locks in here, and the original handles, which I've got to sort out. They can go down there underneath you for a minute. Let's take this, what's that? Original Sony radio, look at that, what a beaut. I didn't realise that was in there. Okay, so that's in there. We've got a bottle of, I don't know how old that is, but it ain't going anywhere near my mouth. water in there. Some Black & Decker sanding sheets. Again, what year does that say? Year on that? This is all from when it got put away. or when it got to stop being used, I should say. So God knows how long they've been in here, 30 years maybe. Well, I'll put these cloths are already in the boot, but I put them in there, spread them out when I had all the engine parts in the boot to obviously protect the carpet. I'm not sure what that's off of. I'm gonna have to take this I'll wedge that in the corner there. Got a couple of rubber mats, or a rubber mat in here, so I'll get that out. Oh, that can go down there for now. Right, so obviously we've got our spare wheel in the middle here underneath, which I've already had out because I had that refurbished when I had the others done when I had the tyres fitted. Let's put the boot carpet down there for a minute. There's a rag, that's one of mine. Thank you, old bit of tissue's been in here forever. Now I can see the fuel pump, that's good. I've got a new fuel pump, I didn't want to take any chances. So that is actually in the boot, so that's, well, I mean, it might be okay, but I didn't want to risk it. This backboard's held in with, I think it should have a screw over there, but it's missing. Yeah, it's got one screw missing there, and one, so it should be, there might only be one actually in the middle holding it. First time I've had this off, I've not had this off before. I had a very slight peek behind this board and I think the tank is metal, which is a shame. I was hoping it was going to be plastic, because obviously plastic tanks are a lot easier to keep clean or clean out than the metal tanks are. Good job this board's got a bit of a bend to it, because otherwise I don't think I'll get it out of here. Okay, you're supposed to get that out of there. Not that. We'll lay it on the roof, I ain't got to worry about the paintwork. It's carpet anyway, so it won't damage it. Right. There's our tank. Now I'm guessing this is going to be pretty manky inside. I mean, it is protected being in the boot, but yeah. Sort of, this is the first time I've seen this, so I'm just looking at it to see what I've got to take off. Let me grab the camera and I'll show you. Right, there's our tank. It's actually not very big when you look at it. Don't know how deep it goes back. Can't see, not that deep. And it goes back to there. So it's a reasonable size, but it's not massive. I don't know if it's got any fuel in it or what. I've got no idea. So this is going to be a voyage of discovery for me as well. By the looks of it, it's held in with two bolts, as you can see. There's one there on that bracket and then one the other end as well. That holds it into the body of the car. So it's not too difficult to take out. It's just working out what I've got to take off to, what am I trying to say, to release it as far as pipework's concerned, you know. There's a pipe going from the bottom of the tank there to the pump. So that's obviously the feed to the pump, and then it comes out the pump, goes through there, through that filter, and up to the front of the car. I've got a new filter element for that, which will fit while we're here. Obviously fuel filler neck is there, along with the vent tube. Electrical gubbins on the top, I assume for the sender. Don't know whether that works or not, got no idea, so we may have to have this back out again if it needs a new sender, because I haven't got one of those at the moment. But I just want to get the tank, make sure the tank's clean and able to put new fuel in it, and make sure the lines are clear as well. There's another small little pump under there. I'm not sure what that one's for. Interesting. Unless that's a scavenge pump for when it gets really low, maybe, I don't know, but maybe I need to look at the setup in the manual and see what's going on. But it stinks of varnish. Yeah, it don't look great, to be fair, as far as what it does. It sounds empty, but if the bottom of it is all gone congealed and hard and full of sludge, that's going to be grief. So I'm going to have a little look around here, see what I've got to take off, Obviously all these wires are taped into the tank, which is a shame I've got to break the tape. I mean, it's only, I say it's a shame I've got to break the tape, it's gaffer tape. It's not like it's anything too, yeah, look, it's not like it's anything too mega brilliant. I might as well pull it off while we're it's all at it anyway, it's not sticky anymore. Alright, there we go. So we've got a little vent tube there which was stuck on the top of the tank. I don't know why, I suppose that would be for, hang about, surely that's a vent tube to go from the drain channel of the window. Why is that sitting on top of the fuel tank? It's come off of my hand, it's split in half. Totally brittle, just totally split in half. I'll have to look at where that goes to. Looks like we've got some, oh that's the switch for the light in the boot. I was going to say, well, we might have a cut off switch there, but it's not, it's a switch for the light, boot light, so that's nothing. Now we've got that tape off, we can see the plug for the sender on the top there. There's another one of these pipes here. Ah, maybe that should have joined up. It's just snapped off. Yeah, it's completely gone brittle and snapped off. This side's not as brittle, but it goes through that little clip up there. So I assume that should be joined up. I'm pretty sure it shouldn't just be in the boot of the car. Don't know. I'll have to check on that as well. As I say, I've not worked on one of these before, so this is all new to me. I can hear my girls on the driveway. I think they may have just come back from Tesco, so I may have to go and help them bring the shopping in and do that. Obviously we can sort all this out as far as retaping is concerned after. I just want to get the tank usable, because if we're in the NEC, I don't think they're going to want us to have a jerry can sitting in the front footwell while we're trying to run it. Right, I'm going to fiddle around with this. Obviously I've got a few electrical connectors to undo. Got one there. I don't know why it's got two pumps, that's what I'm curious about. I've got one connector there, but that only goes to the main pump over here. I'll have to see what that connects to the other end, whether that needs to come off. The other thing is how we're going to drain it. If I take the spare wheel out, we can take that bottom pipe off of there. That'd probably be the best thing. Get a tub underneath it and drain it and see what's left in it, and then that'll make it easier to get it out then. Okay, that's the plan. Right, I'm going to do that first then. I'm going to take this wheel out, undo that bolt, get it draining, and we'll go from there. Right, I've got the spare wheel out, as you can see, and I've got a bowl in there with a funnel. I'm just actually putting a glove on, because if this has got old fuel in this, it is going to absolutely reek, and I've got to go work after this, so I don't really want to have my hands. Right, it's an 18mm nut. Which way do we want to be going? I want to be going that way. Let's see what comes out of this. There is some in it. How much is the question? It doesn't look very nice, I know that. It's got some serious sediment, I think, because this bowl was totally clean when I started this. Oh my god. It's pretty bad. Pretty bad. That has got some vintage to that, I tell you. I wonder how much is in it. Hopefully you can see that draining out into there. I suppose in a way it's good it's got some in it, because it stayed liquid, which means that it won't have any sort of sludge in the bottom of it, if that makes sense. That's actually got a gauze filter on that. you can see, I'll show you in the light in a minute, but it's pretty linky on the bottom half of it. I'm hoping this has got not too much that it's going to fill this bowl right up. Look, all in the boot of the car, nice. It certainly don't smell very nice, but as I say, it's not as sludgy as I was expecting, if that makes sense, which is good, because it means if I put some fresh stuff in it with some nuts and bolts, we can actually shake the tank around and wash it all out, and it should be alright. Right, this is the banjo bolt that came off the bottom of the tank that was holding that pipe on. Obviously it's got a strainer on it, as you can see. It is not very good. I have hit the other side of it with a wire brush, as you can see there. It has started getting bits of it off, but it doesn't look good. So I'm going to stick that in some thinners and see if the thinners will break up the varnish on it, and just leave it in a pot of thinners and see what happens. Maybe we'll try and put a lid on it so that it doesn't evaporate, and it can just sit in it and see what happens, and hopefully that might clear that up. Other than that, maybe I'd use some acetone or something like that, maybe, if Mrs. MEC-TEC's got some nail varnish remover she doesn't mind me using. I haven't got any acetone out in the garage at the moment, so it's going to be one or the other. Right, I want to put it in some thinners to start with, because I've got that out here, and we'll see what happens. Right, there's our fuel out in the open. As you can see, it is a very, very dark orange colour. That is not the sort of specimen you want to be giving at the doctor's, I can tell you that much for nothing. It absolutely stinks as well of varnish. So yeah, there's a few bits of sediment in the bottom there, as you can see in that corner. If I get the light right, you can probably just about see it in the corner there. That's all come out of the tank. Obviously, when we wash it out again, I know, no doubt we'll get a load more out of it. I have put that little filter in some thinners, and as you can see, it's starting to go a little bit discoloured in there. So I'm hoping it's breaking down all the stuff that's in that little filter there, and obviously when I clean it after, hopefully it'll all come out. If it don't, as I say, I'll have to try a bit of acetone, but we'll try that for the minute. I'll leave that balance down there. Right, next step now is I think he's going to get those filler hoses off the boot, out the boot, off the tank even. Then we can get the tank out and go from there. Right, I've got the return line off the top of the tank, and I've got the two bolts out from the sides, which actually aren't even captive. They're actually nut and bolt. Well, I thought I was going to take all the rear seats out, but luckily enough they actually go through to the wheel arch. So bear that in mind. If you ever want to take a tank out of an XL, you need to get to both sides of them bolts. In theory, this should pull out now. Now I've not got the filler neck unhooked because I couldn't get it to move, so I was hoping I was going to get a bit of movement on the tank, and it would obviously then maybe come off. I'm going to undo it from the other end as well, the filler end as well. I know you've got a bit of limited view here, but I've got a limited space to work in at the moment, so I'm up against the garage door. So, and yeah, basically, I was hoping I could get a bit of a turn on it, and yes, there's still tons of fuel in it. This is going to get messy, I can tell you that for nothing. I wonder if it's easier. Going to be easier to just try and bolt the fuel filler from the outside of their body. Take the whole lot out with it rather than trying to take the pipe off. I need to get the key. Oh, that didn't sound good. And have a look and see how it bolts in. I've not even had this undone, so I don't know if it works. No, don't be silly. That would be far too easy, wouldn't it, Mick? Right, WD-40. I am worrying now. It's now Monday. We are leaving for NEC Thursday morning. And I've been working on this car every day for the best part of a month and a half now, pretty much, doing bits on it. It ain't happening fast enough. And when you come across things like this, it doesn't help things. Well, I'm a happy bunny. I didn't think that was going to work. There's the cap. You can see the little pin going in and out there. I gradually worked it backwards and forwards, and it went. You can see the WD-40 on it, so spraying it around the back must have got in there just enough for it to allow it to work. So that is absolutely mega. So now you've got a rubber around this. It might even be that I can try and pull it that way from the inside a little bit, and it might even pull that through. I'm not sure yet. I've not even had a look. There's no fixings on this as far as I can see. It just pushes through the hole. I'll have a look on the inside to make sure there's no fixings on the inside, but if there's not, then it may just be a case of trying to manhandle it out. But at least we've got this off now, because we wouldn't be able to get fuel in it if we hadn't got this off, so that's really, really good. Right, I'm going to fiddle around with this. Once it's off, I'll show you. Right, after a lot of words that could not be broadcast on YouTube, the tank is now out. And as you can see, a load more stuff came out of it. Proper sludgy, loads of sediment in it, not very clear at all. So yeah, it's not ideal. So I'm going to go and get some fresh fuel now and waste it cleaning this out. How expensive fuel's got over the last few days, that's not ideal, but I need to go and get some fresh fuel, and I'm going to get some nuts and bolts, put them inside the tank and give it a good old slosh about, and hopefully that'll get the majority of it out, and then we can obviously do it a couple of times and hopefully get it a bit clearer. I'll drain it into this tub every time so I know what sort of state it's in, and if we can get it somewhere near it. Obviously we're going to have a new fuel filter in line as well in the boot, so any bits that are left over hopefully will catch anyway, so fingers crossed we can get it clean enough to use. Right, I've been and got some fuel, and I've put a temporary bolt in the bottom there where the pickup was for the pump. And what I'm going to do, I've got a box of just normal nuts here. I don't want anything too abrasive because you don't want to ruin the inside of the tank, because it looks good apart from being sludgy and horrible. So I'm going to count how many I put in there, because I know how many I've got to get back out again. So it's 3, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. We'll go with 10 for now. 10 nuts. I'm going to put them in the tank with some fuel and just basically slosh it about like that. Seems very alien doing that, but still, we'll get them back out again. Don't want to use a ton of fuel because obviously I want to do this a few times over. And basically, it's going to be a case of doing this. I think I might need a few more nuts and bolts to go in there, I think. And basically, this is going to be me for a fair while now, by the looks of it. And then what we'll do, we'll chip it up. And so this bolt is not going to be petrol type, it doesn't matter, because as long as it holds it in for while I'm doing it. And then we'll drain it out again and see what we get out of it. I'm assuming there's baffles in this tank, which is why it's probably not all coming out in one go. I'm going to be here a while. Yeah, there's definitely baffles in this tank. I might have to take the cylinder off so I can see what's going on. Didn't really want to do that because I didn't want to break the seal, but I need to look at what condition the sender's in anyway. This is going to be a workout, I know that. if we don't do this, it's going to be horrendous trying to keep the fuel system clean. I'm just going to grab the camera and show you what come out of it. That's only once. Look at all that. And then if I tilt the fuel that way, it's all over there too. That was a clean tub. So I'm going to carry on like that for the foreseeable future and we'll see what we end up with. Right, I'm on flush number 7 and that is what is still coming out of it, all that grit and gunk and whatever else. So I think I might have to keep going with this. It's going to take me a long while. When I get to the end of it, I'll show you the pictures of it. I've taken a picture of each flush. It's gradually got clearer and clearer and clearer, so it's getting better bit by bit, but it's taking a toll on my arms a bit, not going to lie. I've took the sender out and you can see the state of the sender, absolutely covered in what can only be described as like sand or crystallised fuel or whatever, and this is absolutely sea solid, it won't move at all. So I need to have a little look at that, because look in the gap in there, the contacts in the middle look clean. I think it'll work if I can get it to move, possibly. This stuff does, where was it I was looking, it came off my fingers there, this side, look, it came off. It's like scale. So yeah, I'm hoping, there you go, see, I'm hoping it might clean off and free up. We'll see, but I'm still working on a tank at the moment, so that's the sender. We need to look at that too. Right, I've given the sender a little clean up, and it is now free as anything, lovely jubbly. So hopefully that will still read all right, and we'll have a fuel gauge again, which will be really good. I'm actually going to put this back in the tank for a minute. That's the reason I've cleaned it now, because I want to tip the tank upside down and I want to use this to plug the hole, if that makes sense. So I'm going to get this screwed back in. Now we know it's functioning again, and hopefully I've actually got some white vinegar in the tank at the moment. Hopefully that will clean up this little bit as well and make it absolutely marvellous. Let's crack on. Right, I have not filmed every single one of these because you would be bored to tears. This is flush number 20 I'm on now, and this is what we're left with. There's barely no grit in it now, as you can see, and the fuel is clear, you can see through it, but it's got this brown, if I move it you'll see what I mean. I think it's varnish, basically varnishing the tank. You can see it moving around in the bottom of the fuel. That's what we're left with, so I think I may do one more, but I'm going to have to let the filter do its thing with the rest of it, because I'm never going to get it all out. I've done about 12 litres of fuel so far, just trying to flush this out. So yeah, it's I think it's as good as it's going to get without being used and filling the tank up right to the top, if that makes sense. Obviously I'm only putting a bit of fuel in at a time to try and flush it out, and I've got them nuts in there as well, the 10 nuts I put in at the beginning, clanking about. So I think we're going to have to let the filter do its thing on the rest of that. As I say, there's no big grits no big grits, no big grit in it anymore, and there was big chunks in it when we first started. There was like a scale and then a load of black. You can see very slightly there, little tiny black dots. There was absolutely tons and tons of that coming out of it when I first started, so I think we're all right. I think we're all right. I might do one more just to be extra, you know what I mean. That'll be 21 then, and we'll stop at 21, because as I say, I don't think I'm going to get any more out of it than that, and I dare say once it's not got 10 nuts rattling around inside the tank, all that stuff's going to probably settle to the bottom and never come through anyway. But I'm just trying to get it as clean as I can so I don't have any problems with fuel issues, fuel feed issues, you know, and all that sort of thing. So one more and we'll call it a day. Let's crack on. Right, at the end of that last clip, I was very hopeful that that was going to be it on the tank. As you can see, I'm still here and the day has gone past. It is now the afternoon, stroke early evening, and I'm filtering fuel back into this again. I've done that other can I had finished that off, and I've got another new can of fuel. And as you can see by that, I'm still pulling out junk out of this tank. This is just a bit of kitchen wire I'm filtering it through. Not the most ideal thing in the world, but it means you can squeeze it out at the end and get the last little dregs out like that, and it's nice and clean. I've added another 30 bolts inside the tank, nuts I should say, so there are 50 nuts inside this tank now, which has been making a big difference. I need to get as much of this out as I possibly can, because it's just, you can see there the amount of, it looks like I've had a bad day in the toilet, not being funny, but they're all filters, paper that I've been filtering the fuel through. Can't even talk. The smell of petrol was giving me a headache a bit, if I'm not going to lie. I know I'm out in the open. So I'm still going. I did one more on it and it got worse again. I thought I can't leave it. And then I've been on the phone on and off to my old mate Dan. He said put some more abrasives inside it. So I've done that, and yeah, sure enough, it's coming out even more now. So we need to get it out as much as we can. I've put the sender back in, as you may have seen, so that gets cleaned at the same time with the fuel. It's all free moving now, so in theory it should work. So yeah, I'm still going. When I get another lot of mud out of this, I'll show you. Let's crack on. Right, that's what's come out of it this time round. As I say, since you last saw a clip of this coming out of the tank, I've done another 20 flushes. This is 21. Again, with more abrasives inside now, and you can see all the gunk on the bottom of that. That's what I'm filtering out every time, so I'm not using tons and tons of fuel every time, because otherwise it's costing me an absolute fortune. This is the 4th can of fuel now I'm on anyway, so I've done, what's that, £7 a go, 24 quid worth of fuel on this so far. Just to clean the tank out, and it's still giving me loads of gunk out, so I'm not sure how far we're going to get with it as far as how clean it's going to be, but it's going to be a damn sight better than what it was, that's all I know. So I'm going to carry on like this from now. I won't show you anymore. Maybe I'll show you the once I've drained the fuel back in the tank, I'll show you what's left in the pot. It can only be described as like mud effectively. It's probably a mixture of rust and sediment and varnish, I guess. So yeah, it's not ideal. We're going to the NEC on Thursday. It's currently Tuesday, so this is crunch time now. Right, after draining off that last lot of, or refiltering that last lot of fuel, as you can see it's in the funnel at the moment, going through the paper. That is what's left in the bottom of the pan. If I just put that down there for a second, it is like thick, well, I don't know what it is. It's, as I say, it's a mixture of all sorts of things. Probably a bit of lead in there, because when this came off the road, I think leaded fuel was still available. So not much obviously, but so yeah, that's what I'm fighting against. So that's filtering back through again now. Obviously the paper picks up a lot of the gunk out of the fuel as well, and it clings to the paper, which is quite good. So yeah, that's what we're doing at the moment. I'm going to carry on like this until well, I don't know, until I can get it as clean as I can before I run out of time. That's basically what it comes down to now. So there we go, and the filter will have to do the rest. Right, I'm sorry if this video is flitting around all over the place, but it's the night before now and it's a mad panic. So I've got the fuel filter housing completely off. I've undone the pipe off the side of the pump. I'm just about to take off the bottom of this chamber to see what this is like inside. Thought I'd better switch the camera on so you can see for yourself. It absolutely reeks, like really bad. Right, there's the inside of the housing. That looks okay because there's no fuel sitting in it. Let's see what the filter looks like. Get the damn thing out. Let's take the fuel out of it. Oh, fuel is absolutely rancid. Yeah, that doesn't look particularly great. There's a bit of sludge in the bottom there. I'm sorry it's hard to see, it's just about getting dark at the moment, so it's difficult for me to show you. If I get the light above it, kind of see in there. There's a little bit of sludge in the bottom of it. Actually, it's not too bad, to be fair, so that's quite good. So I've got a new fuel filter element for this, which obviously I'm going to put in, but before I do that I'm going to quickly blow the lines out with an air line, just to make sure that any old manky fuel is out of them. And we're not going to contaminate our new filter straight away with this disgusting horrible fuel that's in here. Absolutely stinks. I've never smelt fuel like it. I mean, I've smelt bad fuel before, but this is, well, it's 25-year-old bad fuel, I suppose, isn't it? So it's going to be bad. Right, I've still not worked out, if I tilt the camera up, what this, there's a little extra pump over here which says 12 volt on it, and I don't know what that does because this is the main pump down here. So I don't know whether that's just a scavenge pump for return or what, I don't know. All I know is that the line disappears into the body there and that's the end of it, and there's no other lines going from anywhere in here. The pump one comes to this filter, and then the one out of this filter housing goes into that one. Make sure that's right, yeah, because that's this one here. So all I know is at the moment everything stinks of manky fuel, so I need to get an airline in here and just blow these through to get the worst of it out, and at least then we're going to be starting off hopefully with some clear pipes. Right, I'm going to do that, and then when I've worked out what I'm doing next I'll let you know, but at the moment I'm in a flat spin, so I'm a bit panicking. Right, I've got our new fuel filter. It's a man filter. There we go, a nice new one now. It comes with a new little O-ring to go inside that cup that it sits on to filter it, stop it going around it. It also comes with a new O-ring for the centre of this and a new O-ring for the outer bit of it as well, so it is all nice and sealed. It does come with a fatter one and a fibre washer as well, but I'm assuming that this has multiple applications, which is why it's obviously got a few different gaskets in there. So I've just replaced the ones that were there. Admittedly this middle one wasn't here when I took it out, but I'm pretty sure it should be, so I've put that in. In fact no, it is there, it's on the filter. It's stuck to the old element, so it is there, so that's okay. So I've replaced all what was there basically with what was there anyway. That's just a case of screwing that back on there now, and obviously putting it all back together again, and then I'm hoping the tank's going to be alright. I've hit the camera. I've flushed it so many times now that I've lost count, and it's just unbelievable what was in it, you know. It could have done with having some sort of an acid in it really, but I've not got the time to get the acid in it and let it sit and all the rest of it before the show. So right, there's our new filter in that housing there. I'm going to get this bolted back on. In fact no, I'm not. I'm going to get the tank back in the car first, then we can get this bolted back on, otherwise it's harder to get this on, hard to get the tank in rather with this in the way. I'm going to put the other pipe back on it for now, so that's back on. I've blown the pipes through the to the front with an airline, and they're all clear. There was no fuel past that little, well, you're not looking, are you? Past that little extra pump over there, there was no fuel in any of the pipes, so it must have all drained back, so that's okay. It was all inside this manky old pump, the big pump, and these fuel lines that were here. So I may try and take this line off the other side of this housing just to blow that one through as well, just to make double sure that that's clear. Sorry, I know I'm a bit I can't even think of the word. I'm a bit all over the place at the moment because I'm just trying to get everything done and it's getting late and not happening. So, right, I'm going to get all this bolted back together. Hopefully it'll be absolutely marvellous and we can crack on with something else. Right, this is it. It is currently about 7:20 Thursday morning. Really loud motorbike just went past. Sorry I've not got a microphone on. I'm just showing you quickly. We're all loaded up, ready to go. I'm sorry I haven't filmed any of this, but it's taken an age to get all this loaded up and make sure we've got everything and whatever else. The camper is absolutely full. The Lotus is full. And we are on our route to the NEC. Hopefully we'll see you there. Fingers crossed we make it. Top banana. Right, I'm sorry I haven't cut in on the way up here, but we are here at the NEC show waiting to get in. Dan's just going to wipe the screen a little bit to get all the dust off. As you can see, we're in a little queue waiting to get in. They're guiding us where we're going to go onto the right stand and whatever else. Got a beautiful Mark 1 Fiesta in front. Really, really nice. So we're going to get guided in and we'll come back to you when we're a bit more settled. Right, we're in the hill as you can see. We're coming up to the Lotus stand now, find out where we're going to be. We'll come back to you when we're a bit more unloaded because we don't know what the hell's going on, where we're going. I think we'll go around there, Dan, I reckon. Yeah, we've got 2 Lotuses here so far, so it should be interesting. Right, we are here. Lotus is off the trailer as you can see. Big pile of stuff over there next to the other 2 Lotuses that are already here. Dan's just having a quick bite to eat. I'm going to take the van and the trailer out, then we've got to rearrange our Lotus onto the stand over here where we're going to be working on it. And hopefully it'll be alright and we'll have enough room. It's very hectic in here as you can probably tell. Loads of stuff going on and people setting up and whatever else. There's some really cool cars here at the moment. Stuff I've not seen before actually as well, which is nice. So you see different stuff here every year, which is always good. This MEC-TEC's absolutely awesome, look at that. That is a really cool thing. So yeah, I guess we'll get rearranged and we'll show you what the setup is once we've done it. Let's crack on. Rightio, I've not got any microphones on, so sorry about the sound, but just thought I'd give you a quick show of what we are. Now we're not at the Lotus we're next to the Lotus Sunbeam Owners Club. Their banner is on the side of our stand, so ignore that. It is Lotus, but it's not us. We are the Lotus Grand Tourers Club on the stand there. So if you do are coming to the NEC, then we're on the Lotus Grand Tourers in Hall 5, I believe we're in. And the old Lotus is here, ready and waiting to be worked on with all the stuff next to it. How about that? Didn't think this day had come. I didn't really think it was going to happen at one point. But so we've got our engine and gearbox, various parts in between, tools, engine crane, axle stands, socket set, the lot. And it's obviously all here, ready to start being worked on tomorrow. This is setup day at the moment, so you can see how much the show's progressed since I last did a clip of filming. It literally looks like a car show now. It's amazing how it progresses in such a short space of time with everyone coming in and out, and how well organised it is as well with people coming in and out. So we've got another XL on the stand. This is Richard who is running the stand. So that's a slightly later one than mine on a G plate. We've got a nicer Clat here. I'm sorry I can't remember the guy's name off the top of my head at the moment. We've also got a, I'm not sure what model this one is. That's bad, isn't it? I should know that, shouldn't I? But it's nice, whatever it is. I think it's another Clat, I think. But it's different colour, so there we go. Yeah, must be the same. It looks the same to me anyway. So if I'm wrong, I'll correct that in a minute. But I'm pretty sure it's another Clat. So yeah, got 4 cars on the stand. We're at the back there. We've got a nice bit of room to work on, or sort of work in, I should say. And it should be absolutely marvellous with any luck. I'm just looking at the front of the later one. It's got an extra spoiler on the bottom of that. You probably can't see it. It's got like an extra overhang on the bottom of that compared to my one. So that's a little difference there. Maybe I'll have to add that on. I quite like that. But then having said that, then it wouldn't be right, so maybe I won't. Right, we're going to carry on sorting bits and bobs out, ready for the show tomorrow, and hopefully, all being well, we should see an engine and gearbox back in this soon.